Before we begin, you need to understand something. The woods you think you know are not the woods you're actually walking through. In the Appalachian Mountains of Virginia, there are places so old, so forgotten, that even the animals refuse to enter them. No birds, no wind, no echoes. And in one of those places, if the forest suddenly goes quiet, and you hear your name whispered from the dark, whatever you do, do not answer. Because tonight's story isn't about a haunted forest. It's about a place that learns you. This is the hollow that watches back. If you grow up in the Appalachian Mountains long enough, you learn the difference between quiet and listening. Quiet is when the cicadas stop and the wind dies and the woods hold their breath for a moment. Listening is when everything goes silent, but you can feel something leaning toward you. I didn't learn that lesson until the fall. I went into a place called Briar Hollow, deep in the Virginia Appalachians, somewhere west of Roanoke, past the last cell tower, past roads that stopped having names. Nobody calls Briar Hollow cursed. That's how you know it's bad. They just don't talk about it. I was 32 when I went in, old enough to know better, young enough to think warnings were exaggerations. I'd grown up hearing bits and pieces, not stories exactly, more like absences, people changing the subject, long pauses, a look that said, "Don't ask again." The hollow sat between two ridge lines, a narrow pocket where fog never quite lifted. No official trail ran through it, though satellite maps showed a faint line, an old logging cut from the 1930s that vanished halfway in. Animals avoided it. Hunters swore deer tracks bent away from the place like they'd hit an invisible fence, and every so often someone passing too close would hear their name called from the trees, always in a familiar voice, always from deeper in. The last man who openly admitted to entering Briar Hollow was named Earl Whitaker, a coal surveyor in the late 1970s. He went in with two others, only Earl came out. He made it to a gas station just before dawn, barefoot, bleeding from his palms, whispering the same sentence over and over. It knew me before I knew myself. They found his partners 3 weeks later, or what was left of them. No animal damage, no defensive wounds, no sign of struggle, just wrong. Their bodies were folded inward, limbs bent in directions joints weren't meant to go. Faces collapsed like something had pressed them flat from the inside. The coroner quit 6 months later. Earl never spoke again. I was working on a documentary series about forgotten Appalachian places, coal towns, abandoned rail lines, folklore nobody bothered to write down. Briar Hollow was a blank space on every map. That should have been enough to stop me. Instead, it felt like an invitation. I told myself I wasn't superstitious, that isolation and darkness did strange things to people, that fear created patterns where none existed. I packed light, camera, audio recorder, headlamp, one night in, one night out. I didn't tell anyone exactly where I was going. That was my second mistake. The air changed before I ever reached the hollow. The woods grew dense, rhododendron choking the understory, branches interlocking overhead until the light thinned to a sick green haze. My footsteps sounded wrong, too loud, like the ground was hollow beneath me. Then the birds stopped, not gradually, all at once. I remember thinking how unnatural it felt, like someone had flipped a switch. And that's when I saw the line. There was no marker, no sign, just a subtle change in the trees, as if the forest on the other side had grown older. The bark darker, the leaves thicker, the shadows deeper. I stepped over it. The temperature dropped. Behind me, the forest sounded normal again. Ahead of me, nothing made a sound. Briar Hollow wasn't large, maybe a mile across, but it felt endless.
Fog clung low, never rising above my knees, thick enough to hide the ground. I had to move slowly, testing each step. That's when the feeling started. Not being watched, being measured. Like something unseen was counting my breaths, timing my steps, learning the shape of me. Every instinct screamed to turn around. I didn't. Instead, I set up camp just before sunset. That was my third mistake. Night fell fast. No crickets, no owls, no wind. Just the soft hiss of my camp stove and my own breathing. I was reviewing footage when I heard it. My name, spoken clearly, from the trees, in my mother's voice. She'd been dead for 6 years. The voice didn't echo, didn't sound distant. It was close, no more than 20 feet away. I didn't answer. I turned off my light. That's when it stepped closer. You don't realize how much sound movement makes until something moves without it. Branches parted without rustling, leaves shifted without whispering. A shape passed through the fog, tall, wrong, bending in places that suggested too many joints or not enough bones. My recorder caught none of it, but it caught the breathing. Not mine. Slow, patient, curious. And underneath it, something else. A wet clicking sound, like a tongue tasting unfamiliar teeth. I remembered something then. An old man at a diner years back, drunk and half-mad, muttering about the woods. Don't answer voices. Don't follow paths that weren't there before. And if it starts sounding like you, run. And that's when I heard myself speak, my own voice, from deeper in the hollow, calling my name. I don't know how long it circled me. Minutes, hours. Time didn't behave right in Briar Hollow. Eventually, it stepped fully into view. It was tall, 8 feet maybe or more, but folded inward like it was trying to fit a human shape that didn't belong to it. Its limbs bent backward at the joints, its head hung low, face obscured, but I could see impressions where features had once been, pressed inward, smoothed flat. And when it tilted its head, I felt something shift inside my chest. Recognition. Not mine. Its. The thing spoke again, this time in my father's voice. Then my own, then voices I didn't know but somehow knew, people from childhood dreams, half-forgotten memories, thoughts I'd never spoken aloud. That's when I understood. It wasn't mimicking, it was remembering. Briar Hollow wasn't haunted, it was inhabited by something that learned people. A path appeared where none had been before, wide, clear, inviting. I knew better. I ran anyway. Behind me, the thing moved, still silent, still patient, gaining ground without effort. The fog thickened, the trees closed in, and the voices followed me. Every mistake I'd ever made, every fear, every regret, all spoken lovingly, encouraging me to stop. I tripped, fell hard, and when I looked up, the thing was standing over me, close enough now that I could see its chest rise and fall, too many ribs shifting beneath stretched gray skin. And I understood then what happened to Earl's partners. It didn't kill them. It folded them inward, made them fit inside itself, made them part of the hollow. I screamed. That was the first sound the woods had heard all night. The scream broke something. The silence shattered. Birds erupted. Wind rushed through the trees. The thing recoiled, head snapping up as if startled. I ran, didn't look back, didn't stop until I crossed the line again. Behind me, the forest sounded normal. Too normal. I made it to my truck at dawn. My footage was corrupted, my recorder empty. except for one file, just breathing, and at the very end, my voice whispering, "It knows where you live." I moved away after that, changed my name, changed my face, changed everything. But sometimes, late at night, when the wind is just right, I hear footsteps outside my window, silent, measured, and I remember what Earl said. It knew me before I knew myself. So if you're ever deep in Virginia's Appalachian mountains and the woods go quiet and you hear your name whispered from the trees, don't answer, because some hollows don't echo. They watch back.
People like to believe that places can't follow you, that whatever happens in the woods stays in the woods. But the truth is, some places don't let go. Somewhere in Virginia's Appalachian Mountains, Briar Hollow is still listening, still remembering, still learning the sound of new footsteps. And if you ever find yourself walking where the birds stop singing, where the fog won't lift, and the forest speaks in a voice you recognize, just remember, hollows don't echo. They watch back. If this story followed you a little longer than it expected, if it made the dark outside your window feel closer than it should, you're not alone. There are more stories like this waiting. Forgotten places, hidden things, and woods that don't want to be found. Subscribe if you want to hear them. And if you have your own story, a place you were warned about, or somewhere you wish you'd never gone, leave it in the comments. Some of us are still listening.